of race and not willing to go to the front just yet, just trying to put some pressure onto Zoo as they come to the bell. Zoo does have a bit of control of the race. He looks calm, but look at the extra speed. As always, over the last couple of days, by Olympic medalists in the women's Omnium, Annette Edmondson. Annette, we're all fired up and ready to go. It's been sensational being here in Jakarta, and the people have been so welcoming, and the racing has been extraordinary.
It certainly has. Day 3, so it's been hard and fast. It's actually, we had qualification before that, so day 4, super exciting.
Fastest qualifier.
What weather is hot.
It was 9.599, just over 75 kilometres per hour with the average speed.
So, Grayson, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 10-time world champion. So he knows his stuff.
That's Kamaras.
Yeah, 4 team sprint world titles, 3 sprint world titles, and 3 Keirin world titles. So yeah, he's very well equipped.
He's the best sprinter of his generation. Let's see how long his legacy will last, because he's hoping to go through and repeat those Olympic performances in Paris in 2024.
25 years of age. It's going to be around for a bit longer.
Could have another 10 years in it.
Yeah. 3 laps to go.
Zoo on the front. He knows that Lebrayson is the faster of the 2 riders, so tactically has to do something really interesting to make sure he can get the better of Lebrayson. But Harry is a great tactician as well, so it's going to be hard to get the better of the speed and of course the craft that the Dutchman does possess. And you can see really toying with each other here. Lebrayson not willing to go to the front just yet, just trying to put some pressure onto Zoo as they come to the bell. Zoo does have a bit of control of the race. He looks calm, but look at the extra speed. He was sleeping a little bit on the front there. And Harry Lebrayson straight up around the outside. This is a really easy victory in the semi-final. It's the best of 3, and that's 1-0 for Harry Lebrayson. That was much easier than I was expecting.
He had it all under control, didn't he? So he wound it up and when he just didn't seem to have the legs, couldn't wind up his gear as much. Perhaps he's on a slightly bigger gear. He also did just have another race just beforehand where Lebrayson's coming around, so much speed, and so he doesn't have a lot to follow. So luckily for Lebrayson, he's able to sit up coming into that home straight, relax. He's got 1 more to go.
And that is one of the advantages being in second position, isn't it? You can monitor right in front of you the speed you get and the body language that the lead rider is giving, whereas you can't do that when you are the leader, trying to look back and the rider behind you doesn't feel smile. So much power and speed and endurance picking up the medal there. Also qualifying second fastest, picking up 9.
So he is the young superstar from 2022. So both
Ota doesn't really get much of a run at the back wheel. I'm not sure if he needs it. He has an incredible amount of power in those big legs. He comes into the finishing straight, but not enough power. Well, that's going against the trend. Never with the fast and qualifying, but Kaya Ota.
That looked like Webb was running at him, was going to be able to take it. But then there was just that extra squeeze for Kaya Ota through the bend. Got on top of this gear. Jackson's managed to ride some big gears, so they come home strong, and yeah, he managed to pull that off.
Too close to Will, and as he comes through the back straight here, he steps up. Ota also stepped back to Red, also there. And then caught on the hip into that final bend. He had far up around the outside of Ota to get the advantage of running down the hill in the finishing straight. Really good pace to watch.
Off at 3 laps to go, then it's game on.
There's Andrews, Bayona from Colombia. She looked really comfortable, very fast coming through the earlier rounds. Right at the very back there, you can see Ryu Ota from Japan. Just in front of her is Hetty van der Waal from the Netherlands. Bayona, Andrews, Zhang from China, and Klonen on the front for Australia. Now, you know Christina Klonen really well, Nettie. She was part of the Australian track endurance program. Didn't quite make the team pursuit team for World Championships, and then switched to sprint. Yeah.
Yep, she was. I reckon she was 1 or 2 to miss out, so she was it was really close up there. But then she decided she wanted to have a crack at the sprint, and so this means that she's relatively new. She's the 500-meter Commonwealth Games champion, so brilliant at that. But this is where she's going to try and gain as much experience as she can. So pretty quick. She's on the Derny, looking over her shoulder. The gaps are starting to open up now.
3 to go. Bike comes off. Klonen on the front. Zhao in second position. The first 3 riders will go through to the next round. So you get plenty of chances here. It's really cutthroat through the early rounds, but here with the top 3, it's a little bit easier, but you do not want to make mistakes. Klonen trying to save energy. Now 2 laps to go. Zhang comes up around the outside of her. Andrews fighting as well. 3 wide with Bayona right down in the middle there in the blue colours. Klonen accelerates. Andrews also. Now they're coming to the bell. Andrews will hit the 1 lap to go first. Klonen needs to fight on the inside to try and stay in the slipstream. Looks like she might be able to do that. Down the back straight, Elise Andrews looks comfortable as she is going to make her way through into the next round. She'll be racing for the medals tonight, as will Christina Klonen and Hetty van der Waal. They are the first 3 riders.
Wow.
They've booked their ticket into the gold medal race.
There you go. Great ride from Elise Andrews. So she got flicked out. She had to go really wide early on. So she's also one to watch.
In the blue colours there, we see Mata Bayona. She'd be a little bit disappointed if he had nowhere to go, unfortunately. Good strong riding from Elise Andrews. Got to give you some confidence. See, here's the confirmation. Nice and clean as well. We have had lots of relegations yesterday in the men's Keirin rounds. But that was a perfectly smooth race for the first of the second round for the women. Mathilde Gros, she won the sprint competition yesterday. She's the world sprint champion. She lines up here as one of the big favourites alongside Emma Vernuken at the bottom of the track, with the blue stripe on the helmet. Emma Hinzer, former world champion in the Keirin, there she is, German. Mina Sato, Fuko Umekawa, 2 Japanese riders, 1 riding for Japan, 1 riding for a trade team, and then Ursula Loss from Poland.
Mino Sata, 24-year-old from Japan. She's apparently the best Keirin rider in Japan. Silver at the World Championships in the Keirin in the last 2 years, so she'll certainly be one to watch. New gaps opening up, but they'll slide into position quickly.
Very slow into position actually, Mina Sato. No infringement. I know the officials here do get quite particular about how quickly or slowly they get themselves into position. There was a restart in the men's race because they took too long to form up into their spots behind the bike. Finucane on the motorcycle, on the electric Derny. It used to be a bit of a gas-guzzling, noisy Derny they used back in the day. They've gone now to the electric powered, so nice and smooth, very quiet as well, and environmentally friendly. Finucane constantly looking over his shoulder. This is the rider that she'll be looking out for as well, Mathilde Gros.
Yes, she won the sprint last night in fabulous fashion, two rounds every round, so she's on some very hot form. She is the current sprint world champion from France, and that's Emma Hinze on the back. She's no stranger to the Keirin, as you said, multiple world champion, many times in the Keirin.
Bike comes off, 2.5 laps to go now, coming down the back straight, and it is Sato was the first to make a move around the outside of Finucane, the 20-year-old Welsh rider, bronze medalist in the sprint in yesterday's competition. So now to drag races, they go down the back straight with 1.5 laps to go. Mathilde Gros, first one to see the bell when they come around this time. On her wheel is Umekawa in the black colours, riding for the Japanese trade team. Very high on the track at the back though, Emma Hinze, she looks to be completely out of contention. First 3 to go through. Mathilde Gros just starting to labour a little bit. She's been on the front for a long time now. Umekawa trying to come up for second. She will get second. And on the outside, I think it was Mina Sato. So they'll be the 3 riders that will go through. Mathilde Gros, Sato, and what was it, Loss? I mean, Loss on the inside as well. So second race for the semi-finals, elite men. World champ, one up against Yazoo. They really did that in easy fashion as well. Yazoo is certainly no slouch though. He has a lot of speed. May not to surprise Harry Levreisen. He's going to get the better of the world champ though.
So this is the sprint, so the cat and mouse event. This is where they stalk their prey. You pick a number, so it determines where if you're going to be first or second. So they've swapped positions in the second race. So Zhao is on the back, we've got Levreisen on the front, and this is where they're looking at each other, trying to either force the other one to go first. Zhao looks like he's interested in going to the front. Levreisen is looking over his shoulder. Pace is starting to wind up.
Shadow boxing is what he's doing, ducking and weaving, trying to force Harry to accelerate and waste energy. Now getting a little bit of height. Every time the rider in second position gains height on the track, the rider at the front, if they're not too silly, will accelerate to drag them back down the track. That's what he's done. The gap has really opened up. Levreisen's a world champion. He's the fastest man here in Jakarta. You cannot give a guy with those sorts of speeds that kind of distance. So it's an easy victory for Harry Levreisen. 2 straight, and he'll be racing for gold or silver later on today.
Totally under control. Yep. It's hard to know whether Zhao was wanting to take the front or whether he was forcing Harry Levreisen to go faster, but Levreisen was happy.
That was just before they went up onto the track. Well, Zhao smiling and happy in the semis. Harry Levreisen, he was serious. You can tell he had his real game face on, and that's how he approached that sprint. So, knackered, even though he's in second position, you can see what's going on with Zhao. acceleration at the bottom of the track from Yakovlev is required, and he's already given up. He's realised that he let that one go. Kaya Ota, we're talking about racecraft. Well, Kaya Ota, the Japanese rider, had so much more than Yakovlev on that occasion. So the big man has pure speed, has to work on his tactics, his racecraft. Because Kaya Ota is going through the race. Harry Levrayson for the medals.
That was amazing. That was awesome. It looked like it was all under control, but then as soon as Mikhail left forward, Kaya Ota.
Second fastest qualifier today. The second quickest man on the track behind Harry Levrayson. Nice.
Number one for the first of the bronze medal ride-offs. Zhao is stalking from behind, smaller rider moving up the track. Mikhail looking over his shoulder. They've both got some height here, so starting to wind up the pace. So this is the situation he was in the round before. So he's going to make sure he's not going to get caught napping. Zhao looks like he is building pace.
Lap and a half to go now. Yakovlev in control in front. You can see just the urgency of putting a little bit more pressure through the pedals and a big gap being given. Zhao has given way too much with 1 lap to go. He's the second fastest man in qualifying, Yakovlev. You don't allow a guy that fast to have so many meters advantage, because this is what happens. He's going to comfortably get himself the first win in the best of 3, and that was a tactical failure by you, Zhao.
Yeah, I think Yakovlev, he had a bit of a gap. He didn't want the same situation to happen as before, so he took the initiative. He went down the track, had the speed, and
to try and stop that from happening.
So Harry Levrayson, he is 25 years of age. He is a 10-time world champion and 2-time Olympic champion. He's only 2 years older than Kaya Ota, but Kaya has only recently switched to track cycling in the last couple of years. Comes from a background of rowing. So much talent, so much potential, and yes, like I said before, 10th at his first World Championship, so he's new, but he's hungry.
In the early rounds, Ota really showed some good tactical ability as well, which is not normally what happens when you're a talent transfer athlete from a different sport. So he's really picked up the nuances of sprinting and the tactical nous needed really well. So hats off to him. He's in the final of a Nations Cup, which is proof that he's not just fast, he knows how to race.
Yeah, he was held up by Jason Niblett, so he was an Australian coach, and he actually was a sprinter himself, moved to Japan, and he's been coaching the Japanese team for a while. He's known as Jason Sensei. So he actually did warn us about this rider. He said that Kaya Ota is going to be impressive. So yeah, I wonder if Jason has had a bit to do with these tactical, well, that's the speed at which he's learnt to ride tactically. So he's at the front now. Draw number 1. Levrayson is in second position.
Slow speed to complete the first lap. 250 metres of the velodrome, pretty much the standard now for international competition like this. Fantastic track this. A lot of the riders have been talking about just how smooth it is. So Levrayson in second position, just weaving up and down the track, and all he's trying to do is intimidate Otto a little bit to try and force him into going early and wasting energy. Levrayson, you can see, not giving as much distance as we saw in the previous race from Zhao, so he's still in the slipstream. He's the fastest man on the planet, and he's coming up around the outside, and a bit of a touch of shoulders as they went into the final bend. They have to keep the pressure on. Oh, that was really close.
Wow.
Levrayson gets there and wins the heat. But I think if he didn't, they would have relegated Otter.
Yes.
Sure, you're not allowed to come out of the red line, and it was the touch of shoulders. And
I would say Kaya Otter did that perfectly. He did a brilliant job. Not sure who would have won if he'd stayed in his lane, but he did an absolutely perfect ride. I would have said from the front. He closed the door. He didn't get intimidated. He wound it up as he wanted, but then, as you said, he came out of that lane. So once the sprint has started with 200 to go, you're not allowed to leave that red line. He has to stay in that lane. So he came well above that, and it is the skills of these two riders that they've managed to hold this up that can be so dangerous at those types of speeds. So you can see Harry Leverayson was not happy afterwards. So yes, it didn't matter what the final result was from this moment on, because you're going to expect to see JAKARTA relegated, unfortunately. But what a race.
Yeah, great race, nice and close down. And look at the stare down. Look over the shoulder from the world champ. How dare you touch me? Well, get the win here. It's a bronze medal for him in the Track Nations Cup. Jakarta, Indonesia. That'll be a sensational performance. The second fastest rider in qualifying made a mistake in the semi-final.
Surprise. So we've got 2.5 laps remaining. They're quite slow at the moment, moving up the track.
Well, interesting in the first race between these two, Zal just gave Yakovlev way too much distance. He's running that slow, letting us think that perhaps he'd like Yakovlev to go back to the front again. That didn't work for Zal last time. He's better off trying to leave this one out. Yakovlev to go wide and try and come from behind.
They'll go to the front.
Move by Yakovlev. That's how he won the first race. Now made an error there. Let's see if he can rectify it. Staying a little bit closer to the back wheel of Yakovlev this time. Bell, as they come around the final bend, is it one lap from a bronze medal for Yakovlev, or can Zal take this to a decider? Much closer to the back wheel of the big man now. Zal into the back straight. Big slipstream to be into as well. He's so tall, 6'6". The final bend, but he's got the power, he's got the strength, and he will come through to get the win. 2 straight, and that gives Yakovlev the bronze medal here in the Track Nations Cup. So Mikhail Yakovlev, great sprinting by the big man to come away with the bronze medal.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. Great from both riders.
I like watching Mikhail Yakovlev, such a huge man on the track. He's so intimidating coming up against him. He's got the speed. 22 years of age, so he has so much more development to come. I hope he doesn't grow too much more.
199 centimeters tall, so 22 years of age. Bronze in the Keirin in 2021 at the World Championships, so he's relatively new. And
Keirin from Japan. He has to beat the world champion, Harry Leverayson. He's one up in the best of 3. He's really been in control.
That last round was the most he's been challenged though. I think JAKARTA really put up a fight until he came out of that sprint lane. So if he just held it down, it would have been really close, I think. I think JAKARTA's really had a good crack, given how new he is. So JAKARTA, new to the sport, background in rowing, Leverayson, 2-time world champion, won the sprint 3 times at the World Championships, and the Olympic champion in the sprint. So not his first rodeo.
To the track in case Harry Leverayson did actually come to a stop. Give himself good balance.
Allowed to track stand for too long. So they're continuing, starting to build the pace after 2 laps to go. Leverayson on the front.
Line of the track in second position. Otto. Lap and a half to go now. Starting to pump the handlebars. He comes up around the outside. Harry Leverayson quite happy, content to let the Japanese rider go to the front position. 1 lap to go now. He's in the slipstream, the world champion Leverayson coming to the back wheel of Otto down the back straight and squeezes up around the outside. Otto on the inside trying to hold him off. He can't hold off the world champ. Harry Leverayson sails past the rower to get the win. 2 straight and a gold medal here in Jakarta.
That was great. Another one, another great race that was completely different. Keirin around the outside. I think he did take the race by surprise, but he did go straight in front of him. Grayson got into that slipstream and ran at him and just had to tie the nation.
It's been a perfect score for Harry Grayson, undefeated in both the Keirin and also the sprint rounds throughout these 2 days of competition. The only time they did get beaten was in the team sprint. Came up against the world champions, Australia. The Dutch coming away with a silver medal in that one. But sprinting for both of these riders, and Moto being so new to the sport, we will be seeing a lot from him, as we will Yakovlev, the bronze medalist. The silver medalist is also on the right trajectory. How long can Harry Grayson hold on to his crown at the top of the world sprint?
Yeah, he's looking pretty good, but actually Matt Richardson did give him a bit of a challenge at the Track Champions League recently. They went 1 for 1 in the Keirin sprint. But yeah, it's look at him, just he's stoked with that one. I love it. They just don't get sick of winning, do they? Look a little bit happier after this round though. Like the round before, there was a couple of harsh words, I think.
Elite sport isn't fair, and winning season. So let's see what he can do. Big man, he rode 9.3 seconds, the only rider to go over 76 kilometers per hour, 200 earlier today. So Grayson and Yakovlev on silver bronze, men's sprint. As you mentioned, all shapes and sizes. What left to be like to look like to be a sprinter. Really just have the passion. World champion and the winner of the sprint here in Jakarta. A bit of a surprise to see world champion Keirin coming up on the start line. Race was 7th. Moto from Japan. We see Ursula Ross from Poland. Emma Finucane, bronze medalist from the sprint last night, 20-year-old. And then we see Marta Bayona from Colombia. She got herself boxed in the previous round, unfortunately for her. There's Emma Hinza, multiple times world champion. Moto from Japan. We see Ursula Ross from Poland. Emma Finucane, bronze medalist from the sprint last night, 20-year-old. We see Marta Bayona from Colombia. She got herself boxed in the previous round, unfortunately for her. There's Emma Hinza, multiple times world champion. And Ling from China. She's quick as well. That's a pretty stacked race for 7th place. And before the Olympic qualifying series, point series really started, a lot of riders didn't care too much about the race for 7th place. But now the points are so crucial that they take this with full gusto.
Each race is a chance to practice. Practice tactics. Do you want to go from the back in front? Do you want to go from the back? Do you want to get out early? Do you want to be just laying off the wheel? There's not many opportunities to practice at the national level. That's why this Nations Cup is so important. The Track World Championships are in August, so that's the next step up. So there are more points up for grabs at the World Champs, and then all of those points contribute to your qualification for the Olympic Games. So athletes need to qualify points, but also nations as well. So it's getting pretty tricky, but that's why there's such hot, fast, desperate racing. So 5 laps to go. This is the Keirin. It's a 6-lap event. So they go behind the Sturney for the first 3 laps, and then the Sturney will swing off, and then it's all up to the riders. So it'll be big years. The Sturney will be slowly getting them up to pace, and drop them off.
Like, yeah, slowly picking up pace. 50 kilometers per hour is the speed they'll drop them off at. Because the riders are so quick. That's the speed there, 50. That looks slow. But if you go out onto your road bike, cruise around the streets, just try and ride down the road at 50 kilometers per hour without a tailwind. They're travelling along, even though it's slow for them, at a pretty decent speed. Emma Hinza decides to go around to the front, and 2 laps to go for her. Look over the shoulder, now just backing into them a little bit, staying in second position.
She worked pretty hard to get to the front there, so she's got a long way out. She's got that 2.5 laps to go. We'll come around for the bell.
Yeah, Otto it is that's coming up around the outside. So Hinza now on the inside, accelerating in the saddle, holding off Ota. Bayona from Colombia in the blue, trying to come 3 3 wide around the outside. Zhang still tucked in second position. Bayona trying to come over the top of her, but Emma Hinze will hold on to get 7th place in the women's Keirin. Bayona perhaps picking up 2nd when we have a look at that, just ahead of Zhang on the inside.
And here's to come.
So Emma Hinze, she went early to the front and want to risk it. Just kept accelerating all the way down the back straight. Bayona, it's just too wide, 3 wide around the outside. It's just too far on the outside to try and get around. Zhang dragged into 2nd place perhaps, or at least 3rd, as Bayona has that extra height coming down the finishing straight, so she does not quite getting there for 9th place. So Hinze, Bayona, Zhang, Finucane, Moss, and Otaka, 7th to 12th in the women's sprint champion. She won the gold medal last night in the sprint. Minasato, Umekawa, 2 Japanese riders who don't know, the national coach for New Zealand, also the husband to Anna Mears, the world's greatest track cyclists. At least that's actually the greatest. I think she's one of the most.
So she won the sprint last night. She's the sprint champion. This is Van der Waal, twin boys from the Netherlands. 2 bronze at the Euro Championships last week. Go Umekawa, so she is one of the Japanese riders, and Minasato is also a very good Keirin rider from Japan, held up by Jason Niblett. So she'll be looking to get a big result. The Keirin is a massive event over in Japan. It's been traditionally a male event, but it's getting bigger and bigger for the ladies. There was recently a race worth $17,000 plus a Lexus for the win. Unfortunately, Minasato crashed out of it, so that was a big shame, but we'll be looking to see what she can do today. Off she goes. She'll go straight onto the bike. She has to go to the bike. She's pulled number 1. As you see, the other riders are settling in places behind her. So there's 6 riders in this event. This is the best for the final first 6 places. That's Christina Corner on the back. She's the Commonwealth Games champion in 500 time trials. Relatively new to this, with a background in track endurance. Same with the rider in front, Elise Andrews from New Zealand. She was an enduro turned sprinter, and she has had a lot of success since. Known for her Keirin racing, so this is going to be an exciting finale.
And you mentioned Sato obliged to go into position number 1. So there's a change that has happened in only more recent years. For those of you that know Keirin racing from back in the day, there was a real fight for position right from the start line. They had to stop that and draw for positions now, and you must line up behind the bike in the position that you drew before the start of the race. After the first lap, you can go and move up if you want, but you can't use too much physical contact. That was something that was also banned from the past Keirin racing. 3 laps to go now. The bike comes off the track, and Sato leads the way. You can see the gaps opening up a little bit just to give themselves a bit of room to move, and the first to do that is Mathilde Kroll. There's Andrews up onto her wheel.
Going to the front, you know, she's got the pace, she's got the legs, but she doesn't want to get stuck in the mix. Sato on her wheel, trying to come out as Elise Andrews is fighting around the outside.
They come around to get the bell this time, and it's the world sprint champion from France. Comes to the line, 1 lap to go in the front. Andrews fighting hard in the wind on the outside. Sato, she's in the slipstream of Grove. Now she's got some room to move. Can Sato come around, the world sprint champion? Oh, she's fighting hard into the finishing straight, and she's going to be able to do it. Sato gets the win here in Jakarta. Fantastic performance from her. Mathilde Grove also held on for a place, and Umekawa, 2 Japanese on the podium in the women's Keirin. Mathilde Grove side, and she just had to wait for the fatigue to set in. Andrews was out in the wind. Once the gap opened up, then she could accelerate and step out and come around the outside. If Andrews was able to stay there a little bit longer on the outside, Sato may not.
There's actually a touch of shoulders about a lap to go. So there was a little bit of a touch, and then they sat back and played and just exploded a little bit, so she went really stuck on the outside, and that's when Sato seen the gap and squeezed out. You don't see a rider from Japan a gap, so she will take it. So she has popped out, taking the win. Very excited
as well. So Sato takes the win ahead of Grove and Umekawa. Elise Andrews just fading down to 4th place. Getting the result from her. He's going to clone in the 5th. Great riding for the winner, and Van der Waal gets good, fast